Hello everyone and welcome to game 3 in this best of I believe 5 series here between Dimaga and Goody here on Shakura's Plateau. So Dimaga spawning as the red Zerg player, meanwhile Goody spawning as the purple Terran. Shakura's Plateau, obviously a map that Dimaga chose, as I believe the loser chose the matchups. That's why Game 2 took place on Zelnaga Caverns. Goody, the Terran player, obviously favoring that, and now Dimaga choosing Shakura's Plateau as it is definitely a Zerg favored map. And the reason why it is a Zerg favored map is because you always guarantee cross spawns. And if you spawn on the left side of the map, you know that your opponent can only spawn on the right side. You can never spawn vertically from your opponent, only horizontally. So that is the closest possible way, and then a diagonal spawn is possibly the best, as it gives the Zerg player plenty of time to set up his hatchery over here on the low ground. I would be surprised if Dimaga didn't go for a fast hatchery here on Shakura's Plateau, as fast hatcheries are the norm. We may see an extractor first though, so those are the two openings that I expect to see from Dimaga. From the Terran player, I pretty much expect to see the standard barracks, supply depot, factory, and we may see the 1-1-1 build, as that seems to be the strategy that Goody likes to use. He doesn't want to go for multiple barracks, as I believe he favors the mech style of play from Terran. Mech, definitely one of the benefits, as now going for an early supply depot, so he is not going for a refinery, and that may mean he is going for just mass infantry. By walling off this build here, the drone is not able to come inside, is not able to see what exactly is Goody is doing, and now Dimaga needs to play much more carefully. One drone battling it out against an SCV, I believe. Oh, the second SCV, getting another shot in there, and down goes Daisy the drone. So Hero SCV has one kill and doesn't even have any damage to show for it. So one SCV there. As we now upgrade to an orbital command, a second barrack should be placed down in just a moment, unless Goody opts to go for a double refinery in just a moment, but that would kind of defeat the purpose. He may try to go for a fast expansion of his own here on Shakura's Plateau now that he's spotted out this hatchery. So he sees the early hatchery, and now he could be getting his own command center. And by getting his own command center, he'll be able to catch up to his opponent's own fast expansion. The spawning pool currently in play will be able to train up a lot of allow the training of some Zerglings. The Zerglings most likely will be activating a lot of Zelnaga watchtowers, as a bunker now being placed down. One Marine now trying to deal some damage. SCV pulling back as the Marine needs to run away from those drones. The Marine unable to turn around and shoot continually against those drones. The drones may try to just finish off this bunker here. No, simply gonna ignore it, as there's no real chance that this bunker will be completed, and Goody doesn't want to cancel it just quite yet, as it does reveal sight into the natural expansion location. Command center about halfway done, and now currently halfway done, as now Goody goes into double gas. So double gas, we should be getting a factory in just a moment, upgrading this to an orbital command, and Goody running and doing a very economic build now here on Shakura's Plateau. Wants to establish his own command center down over here, and perhaps try to make this into a prolonged macro battle. There is that factory, so Goody instead going into double command centers off of one racks, late gas into mech play. I'm assuming that we will see a second and third factory in just a moment. So Goody just taking his time now, waiting to get this command center, upgrading it to an orbital command, and it does also provide 10 food, so that definitely helps him out for not becoming supply locked. Waiting for that second factory. There it is. There's that second factory currently being built, as Dimaga and Goody both just play a very macro style of play. 23 harvesters versus 30 drones. Dimaga pretty much knowing that he can power drone all he wants at this stage. So by power droning, he's going to have a very strong economy. Also, by having Zerglings just positioned all across the map, he knows when to respond and try to build additional spine crawlers. So additional spine crawlers could be built the moment that this Zergling, or perhaps another Zergling down over here, spots an army of Marines and Marauders. SCV is now being transferred over. There is one Overlord. The Overlord does spot that there is an expansion down over here now. Goody does not see that Overlord. The Overlord yeah, Goody does not see that Overlord. So I believe that Overlord is trying to hide up on a cliff. And I think it is actually hiding up on a cliff and preventing any low ground sight from that SCV there. One Zergling now making its way in. We'll see that there is the expansion. Once again, he sees the decent probe saturation and double mules being called into the natural expansion as well. Income-wise, 1,200 versus 1,200. You can see Goody getting a lot of harvesting done with those mules, getting a very, very large economy of minerals as Zerglings try to run up that ramp once again. Zerglings once again going to try to run up that ramp. The Marines are already in position and now trying to back off, and now the Zerglings are getting even more damage, trying to pull away even further, and now nicely done by Goody. Goody making sure to minimize his losses by constantly moving his targets and letting the high ground units deal the majority of that damage. Now we should be seeing what double tech labs. There's that armory, so the armory does mean that we will be seeing Thors. We are also getting an engineering base, so a couple of missile turrets in order to deter of any spire activity. And now I'm curious as to what Dimaga wants to do with his units, or what Dimaga is going to try to do. The Zerglings are now attempting to take down this backdoor rocks, establish up a fourth base, as a third base now already starting here. So Dimaga taking this time to expand, while Goody taking this time to macro up. Level 1 weapons upgrade, double Thors being trained. We need more supply depots, otherwise we are going to be supply locked. And now adding a starport to the mix of army units, perhaps getting a medevac or a Viking. Goody and both players just sitting in their base now, waiting to see what can be done. As this is really starting to bother me that my computer actually freezes trying to record StarCraft 2, and that hasn't happened for a long time. Hellion's now back over here. Perhaps I need to disk scan my recording hard drive, since I do write about 400 500 gigs to it every single day. And back over here, supply depot still being placed down, starport and another factory being built, so we may be getting the infernal pre-igniter research sometime soon. All of this off of 4 gas, so Goody is going to have a lot of opportunities to build supply depots, as he's not going to be spending much of his minerals, but now going into even more factories. So that is a lot of factories currently being built. Mutalisk now being added on, level 1 weapons upgrade, and now a hatchery being put down over here at the low ground expansion for the top right hand location. Another hatchery could be placed down here in just a moment, as the Mutalisk now on the move to try to perhaps pick off some of these SCVs. There are 2 missile turrets in play. Missile turrets have a range of 7. So they will be able to shoot down one Mutalisk and damage another Mutalisk before any serious damage is done. There's one round of longboat missiles. The Viking now trying to move out. Viking does have a superior range, but it does not want to go head to head in a fight against Mutalisk, just because Mutalisk are able to get within that 0 distance. In comes a Thor, and that Thor now coming in, and now he's going to get magic box, but that's not going to work at all, as there's a second Thor already coming in to respond to it. That Viking now getting another round of Lancer torpedoes into the back of the Mutalisk there, and there are one missile turret along the north side, so the Vikings now trying to chase off those Mutalisk. Mutalisk now still flying away. That one missile turret nowhere near close enough in order to get any damage, and the Mutalisk will be able to live and fight another day. There's that hatchery I was talking about at the 6 o'clock position, getting the nose on the happy face of Shakura's Plateau. If you don't know what I'm talking about, eyes, happy face. Back over here, we still see Mutalisk still wandering around the map continually, as Zerglings hiding out in a little bit of the alcoves. Army-wise, 2,500 versus 2,000. One Overlord was just shot down for Dimaga, so Dimaga currently supply locked at 121 over 118, and now getting the Zerg flyer attack level 2 and adding more Mutalisk to that army. We also see a Raven being added. So a Raven being added to the army, and I'm curious as to how this Raven is going to be used. Ravens do have Seeker missiles, but I have not seen a Seeker missile used in quite some time. Seeker missiles perhaps one of the best counters to Mutalisk if they can actually hit their target. Seeker missiles do move so slowly, though, that it doesn't really deal that much damage to them. Seeker missiles perhaps best used against not uncharged Zealots, as I do not think Zealots can actually outrun a Seeker missile. I don't know the movement speed on a Seeker missile. I know a Thor can't, but I'm not sure. I'm quite sure about a Zealot. Mutalisk now continuing to wander around the map. Will be trying to put pressure over here in just a moment. Goody perhaps needs to get another missile turret in this location in order to fight back. And now Goody starting to mass up a very large army, very strong mech play, 4,000 minerals, and now making its way out. There is one Raven, and that Raven doing a great job revealing all of those creep tumors. So by denying the creep tumors, he's going to slowly destroy the creep highway. More Mutalisks are still being trained now, and now it's going to be 31 Mutalisks. So 31 Mutalisks, that is not going to be enough for 6 stores to shut down. 6 stores, 36 food versus 60 food, and income to Mutalisks. Now the Mutalisks are going to be dropping in, and not enough energy for a point defense drone. The Marines do not have stim pack. SCVs are on auto repair. Viking is also in the air as well. Are we going to get a point defense drone? It doesn't look like it, but the Mutalisks, with the support of Marines, able to finish them off as those stores with 1-0 upgrades, nearly killing the majority of those units. Hellions now barreling their way in. Zerglings getting toasted on this front door, making sure that they don't deal any damage towards the siege tanks or the vulnerable Thors. And then Dimaga says GG. So Dimaga just getting stomped right here on Shakura's Plateau. A normally Zerg favored map. Dimaga did have a stronger economy, harvesting at 2,000 minerals a minute, but he powered drone just a little bit too long and was not able to get a strong enough army to defend what would be a very effective push. Siege tanks, Hellions, all with 1-0 upgrades. Those Hellions able to deal a lot of damage towards those Zerglings. I think if the Raven even had the point defense drone, that would have just been icing on the cake in order to absorb damage from those Mutalisks. The Mutalisks, the Glaive Worm attack does get intercepted, adding an additional 180 hit points to be absorbed, plus any additional energy that the point defense drone is able to absorb over time as it naturally sits there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Dimaga and Goody here on Shakura's Plateau.